Right. Hi, Kitty.
Hi, Joe.
Let's pretend we're talking about our BS.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we are. Kitty and I talked yesterday about today's live reading, and we were just talking before we went live. And let's dive in. I'll go first. Let's dive into the astrological and intuitive energies for the month of July as seen by moi and my co-conspirator, Kitty. All right, so I have 3 words that came through a week ago, and they're still holding true this morning. The first one is timing. Timing, not yours, not mine. Timing that you came up with pre-incarnation, right? Your soul's blueprint timing. Your egoic timing, your conditioned mind timing might say something different, and you might try and push and push and prod and poke and poke, but you've got to surrender. This is an ongoing theme of surrender, surrender, surrender. That's been going on since last August. I don't know, but it's heavy. It's heavy duty surrendering to let go of the mind control that you are trying, or I am trying to have. So surrender to the timing of your soul's blueprint. And how do you know that? You've got to be tender. So tenderness is another word for the month of July that we need to keep in mind from my perspective, so that we don't set ourselves on fire in any way, that we don't cause explosions in our lives, inside and outside, that are unnecessary. We need to, as Kitty and I were talking, there's stuff coming up for both of us, right? We're human, but we're trying our best to talk to each other about it, talk to others, and to work at it from a place of tenderness and self-inquiry and understanding, right? Because that's what love would do. So, and the third word is tenacity. So each of us in our own way have to be tenacious in our tenderness toward the situations that are coming up for us, but also to let that fire of tenacity come up so that you step into your own power, your authenticity, your creativity, your soul's essence in a way that you maintain it. That you maintain it perhaps in ways that you weren't able to before because you didn't know, you didn't understand. But now so many people are woke in the best ways, right? This overused word woke. But woke to me is like, I'm conscious, I'm inquiring about my behaviors. I'm trying to look more closely about the emotions that are coming up for me. Are my thoughts and emotions related to stuff from the past that's habitual? How can I be tenderly approaching this and kind and compassionate and gentle toward myself so that I'm not, again, setting off 5 alarm fires all over the place, right? So we've got to really pay attention. Our intuition is stronger than ever as a collective, I believe. So for some people, that's shocking in a weird way. And for others, it's a relief. It's a shocking relief that they are trusting themselves. And this clarity has come forward. So your turn. How are we dealing? How's this all connected, what I said astrologically?
It's amazingly always connected, because this is using our visioning. This is surrendering. We started this real step into the divine in March. And we have all of these planets going retrograde. So it's the first time in this awoke level of divinity that we're surrendering. We've got Pluto, we have Saturn, we've just had Neptune joining us, and they're in a really tight amount of energy because it's Pisces for our Saturn, but the Saturn's related to Capricorn. Oh yeah, Pluto's in Capricorn, and then Neptune's in Pisces. So there's this focused internal spiritual call about our structures and about what we've kind of gotten a glimpse of what we want to be. And it's an intensity, but it's an intensity for heaven on earth. It is an intensity for an And that's what the tenacity is about. Yes, it keeps coming at us. By the end of the month, we have Venus retrograde, which is always about revisit, rethink, redo, which is about our love energy. We have this time of Cancer, which is about our most private energy being expressed. And then we go into the Leo energy, which is very public energy being expressed. We have planets moving out of Leo into Virgo, Mars, which is kind of the suture. It's a real specific operation of how am I going to put my will and build this. I go back to heaven on earth. How do I create what I understand? It isn't about me getting to the end of my life and getting a check card from heaven that says, yes, yes. Oh, no, it's about in every moment I create what I've been drawn. I realize what my potential is. And it's about that restructuring. So much of that is happening internally right now. We have a very big Capricorn moon on the 3rd. It's a super moon, which just means the moon's in the Earth's orbit, closer to the Earth's orbit.
The
But
third being tomorrow.
And since Pluto is restructuring, Pluto is in Capricorn restructuring, and of course the moon is about Cancer where the sun is, it's a very intense, powerful progress to be aware of what we're encountering, what value of in the world, the value of our actions in the world. That's what I mean by heaven on earth. There's a real joyful part to it, but that's that's the intensity that we're going into. And so again, it's all right to say to the universe, give me a little minute, give me some more restraint here, give me, please, I'm in need of help, because it's a really kind of precise movement. And very early on in this month, Mercury goes into Leo, so it is about communicating with discernment our reality energies and looking at, is this a reality I want to have? Is this not a reality I want to have? So very much those are the themes. And being tender with yourself, compassion with yourself. These 3 months, June, July, and August, are each, you used the word volcano. I heard someone else
last month, yes.
And interesting left for both of us, Joe, yesterday, just before I talked to him, we had a technical issue. The word, I was looking for something that didn't feel like explosive, pull around, and the word geyser came. And then Joe turns around and tells me about how he had a whole vision with geysers. This is this energy that is popping up to be released and to restore underneath all of the geysers. They're connected to the plates, they're connected to all of this whole underground of our energy. And that's what we're kind of looking at as we go through the month of July. We are announcing our values, we are revisiting them, and we're asking for some tenderness in figuring out. And then the biggest thing I didn't even touch on is in the middle of the month. So for about 2 years, 18 months to 24 months, the nodes, which is our soul's highest goal, is in a sign. Well, it's moving into Aries. It is a brand new cycle in this divinity of what our soul is asking us to create. We are shifting it. And Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra are cardinal signs. And that's all of the energy this month, all about starting new beginnings. How do I find balance? How do I create the structure? How do I nurture the structure? And where do I start? That's the energy of this month. So
I love it. And I wrote down precise movement. Precise movement. And the fact that geyser energy, you can't put a lid on that.
No.
That's energy that must be expelled, expressed, right? So if anyone out there is like me, it's like, I know when it's time, I've got to let that energy out. There's no way. The time comes where it's so combustible. I've got to express it. It's got to be expelled.
Right. And
or there's an adverse effect, right? It could be something physical on me that I develop some discomfort in my digestion or my throat, right? We've got to really pay attention to this because, of course, the body is always going to tell us when something needs to be tended to, right? So.
And being aware of that precision, understanding that it's like the suture, like it's very, very precise, especially when Mars on the 7th moves into Leo. Where am I putting my will? So that even as I blow, how do I want that blow to look? Do I want it to be an expression and letting go, or am I using it to like destroy things?
Yeah.
And so we don't stand over geysers, we step back.
We
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. So
No, we don't.
and so but we know that it's an internal connected, and that's the space we want to hold for everyone. That's why I'm really hearing heaven on earth. How do I want to create my own heaven on earth? And that includes the people I'm hanging out with, especially in this time of Cancer. It is your most private energy you're expressing. So, if you know somebody it's not a great match, then how am I going to give myself the space away from that at that time? So,
Yeah, agreed.
so,
Okay.
and
I
we'll be
just want to,
mid-month.
I drew a card while Kitty and I were talking before we went live, and the card is basically about tenderness. So these oracle cards from the Sacred Rebel Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. So this softly, softly, the tender touch, which before Kitty and I went live, I said I need a kind of a touchstone to see if, all the stuff from the last few days going into this live is still live. And sure, there we go. So there we go.
Well, and we'll be back mid-month to be checking in.
Mid-month. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and that will be right before we have this big soul shift of new beginning. So in this first 18 days, this is a very big precision awareness of who I am, how I want to be in this world. And for me, how do I create the heaven on earth I really want to live in?
Yeah. So pay attention, I think it's always important for us to note that pay attention, of course, to your own process, but look around you. What's going on with the people that you're close to, or your coworkers who you have like adjacent relationships with, or what are the news events that are coming up? Because all of this is information to tell you about what's going on in the collective. Because if it's up in here in your head, it's likely that it's being expressed in different ways out there somewhere. So pay attention.
And as you're saying that, my head starts to swim. And that is a reminder, when you start to swim and it's overwhelming, there's nothing wrong with stepping back to say, what's the next best step I can take in front of me?
Or give me, the next best thought, the next best calm, gentle, clear thought.
So.
I love that too. All right, good stuff.
All right.
Excited about July. I think there's going to be a lot of shaking and changes, and all for the good in the long term.
The geyser, you're going to be in a geyser field.
Yes, we just might find ourselves there.
So, all right. We'll see you in the middle of the month. Namaste.
See you in a couple of weeks.